Hello, everybody. Just bear with me while we just check a couple of technical issues out before we get started with this broadcast. We are here in the studio. We are live on YouTube. So I hope. Okay, sorry, excuse me. We've got a bit of problem with the timing of this webinar. Okay, we are going live. We are live. We are live on YouTube, and I hope we are live across LinkedIn. So I'll just get the team ready. Just bear with me. We just had a couple of technical issues there as we were setting up. Okay, everybody, we can begin. We are good to go. Hello and welcome to this special edition of CocoaRadar Live. I'm your host, Tony Myers, and for the next 60 minutes, we are live across LinkedIn and other channels. Today, we are previewing one of the most anticipated events in the Cocoa calendar. That's Amsterdam Cocoa Week, taking place in the Dutch capital from 16th to the 22nd of February, 2026. If you look into your top left-hand corner, which there should be a QR code there, just bear with me. Very important. We get this up. Yep, there we go. You can actually scan that information with the code with your phone to get the information on tickets, times, and the full program. And also early bird tickets, of course. So today I'm delighted to announce that the CocoaRadar will return as the official media partner to the Chocoa conference in 2026. We're bringing you exclusive interviews, on-the-ground reporting, and premium coverage from across the week. Before we dive in, remember you can submit your questions wherever you're watching this chat from, directly via the platform, and we'll see them in the studio, and we'll do our best to respond during the sessions. If you miss anything, don't worry. This broadcast will be available on catch-up on YouTube's YouTube channel, on CocoaRadar's YouTube channel. Right, I shall calm down now. Now that we've got the technical issues over. And I just want to say, before we dive in, let me give you a taste of what's coming. So Amsterdam, for February the 16th to the 22nd. It will once again be the capital of cocoa. Over 3,000 professionals are expected, 190 exhibitors, 130 speakers, and they will all gather for what is now billed as the Amsterdam Cocoa Week. If you're serious about cocoa and whether you care about traceability, livelihoods, carbon markets, living income, etc., AI, agroforestry, or flavors, this is your week. The Chocoa Conference itself is shaping up to be one of the most solutions-driven and farmer-focused events we've seen in recent years, and two words define the agenda, and those are resilience and transition. We're talking hard truths on why systemic change keeps stalling. We're talking about real voices from Côte d'Ivoire, Colombia, Ecuador, and beyond. Next-gen farming models from agroforestry to irrigation, and deep dives on digitalization, risk mitigation, and labor. And powerful closing debates will be featured as well at the conference. What does a realistic cocoa future actually look like? Something we'll be asking today as well. There's also serious firepower across the rest of the week. The World Cocoa Foundation's partnership meeting is taking place in the same event. Back to back with Chocoa. They have the Cacao of Excellence Awards and Auctions, and they have the Amsterdam Chocolate Festival, the biggest edition ever. There's also new events like Trade and Transport in Transition and the Financial Cost for Farmers, and of course the Grand Dinner du Chocolat, which is a great networking opportunity for delegates. Okay, let's get into it. And for me, let's meet the team behind Chocoa, and I'm just going to bring them on. Okay. And here they are in the beautiful background. We have My bottom left, we have Jack Steen, co-founder of Chocoa and the financial director. Up on the top right of my screen, we have Anna Leven, program director, Amsterdam Cocoa Week, and we have Mariana de la Rosa, the operational director of Amsterdam Cocoa Week. Okay, well, we've got 60 minutes to discuss what's coming up. So let's get down to it. And Jack, I'd really like to start with you. And before we look at next year, let's go back to the beginning and give us a quick history of Chocoa from those early days at the Maritime Museum to the iconic Burv emballage. What's that journey been like over 14 editions? And we can't hear you, Jack. Are you still on mute?
No, yeah, yes, I am. I was. I'm sorry.
I
So
can't hear you yet. No,
yeah. So we
I can't
started
hear you.
indeed in 2012, but that was for the event in 2013. The very first event already had a festival, a conference, and a dinner. And from then on, every year we added new
I'm
elements.
not hearing Jack.
I'm not okay. So are you? Do you hear me now?
I hear you.
Yeah.
Jack, I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay, no, that's fine. So let's start again at the beginning, which was in 2012. We started preparing the event for 2013. So next year it'll be our 15th edition. We started off with a festival dinner and already a conference. And from then on, every year we added new elements to the program from a philosophy that every new element should contribute to the success of the other program elements and then make sure that it's a synergy, especially for the visitors. So we added the trade fair in 2014, European Markets Academy in 2015, Chocolate Makers Forum, and so on. And the idea was always that if we have something new, it should be of more interest to the ones that are already coming to the show and bring new visitors in. For instance, Chocolate Makers Forum. It is the only well, there are only two platforms worldwide where chocolate makers meet and can exchange amongst themselves between professionals about their profession. But at the same time, it brings potential buyers to the trade fair. This is how the event grew over the year from 3 days in the first year, bringing maybe 1,500 visitors, to 7 days Amsterdam Cocoa Week this year, bringing potentially more than 10,000, of which 3,500 professionals. And I remember when I was sitting after the first event with other co-founder Caroline, who is not on the show at this moment. But I was sitting next to her. We were exhausted after the first Chocoa, and we realized that the only way we could have pulled it through, we could have pulled it off, is that we didn't know at the beginning that it would be impossible. And we still have that feeling when we get going. Yes, we're going to do this. We're going to add that. We're going to, and then when it's over, we realize that with a four-person team, we have managed to do something that is actually impossible.
Okay, well, that was fascinating. So you've been going 14 years. Well, this is your 14th edition, and that's no small achievement. And of course, you carried on through COVID, or you probably went online, didn't you, for 1 year? And it does. I've been attending this event now for the last 7 years, and it's just grown and grown and grown. And I can see how it's developed. And certainly next year's event with the World Cocoa Foundation in the house as well is going to be pretty amazing.
Actually,
So thanks, Jack.
Actually, the COVID event was one of the most fun to prepare because we were online with thousands of participants all over the world looking at us at the very same time. And I remember one of the programs, we had somebody in El Salvador saying it is 4 in the morning. and somebody in Taiwan saying, "Oh, well, we're now after midnight." So and everybody was watching Chocoa at the very same time. So that was an amazing event.
That's right, and the power of that. There was some benefits from COVID, not a lot, but those were one of them. And to reach that global audience, which you wouldn't have necessarily achieved if from a live event. So it did have its benefits, and particularly if you can reproduce the event online like you guys did, it worked really well. You had the great software, great platform. And I remember sitting in from London watching it, and it was pretty spectacular. Okay, Jack, we'll come back to you in a little while. Anna, I'd like to talk to you. You're the program director for Chocoa. You're part of the team behind Chocoa. That is your official name now, your company. So I'd like to ask you, as the event has grown, so has the team and the scope. Can you give us an overview of Amsterdam Cocoa Week in general? What does it include? How do the events connect? And what can participants expect this year?
Yes, that's a very good question, and difficult to answer because there's so much. So it's actually great to have the opportunity to share what the build-up looks like. And it's good to stress again that we have a number of co-leading partners for the next edition, which are, besides ourselves, the World Cocoa Foundation, as you said, and Cacao of Excellence. But there are also like 20 plus other organizations who make use of this event to organize their own side event in the same week and also in the same building. So as a result, we will have during the week really a vibrant space where cocoa and chocolate professionals can connect, they can learn, they can be inspired, share their stories, do business. And we have many different stakeholders and also many different countries of origin. So in the weekend, we will open up for the consumers and we make them more aware of all the stories and culture and tastes of special chocolate and sustainable chocolate and all other products that you can combine with chocolate. So that's amazing, but let's focus a little bit on the B2B side, which I think is more for this audience. I would like to take you through day by day. It will be a lot, but it gives you a sense of what is out there. So let me just walk you through. Starting on the Monday, the 16th of February, we start with the Farmers' Day for farmers, their organizations from different origins, to learn from their peers and their partners. And on Monday, we will also organize for the second time our financial course, more for SMEs and farmer organizations that need access to finance or can benefit from more knowledge on access to finance. Monday, it will also be the WCF who start their board meeting and assembly meeting. And there are some other events that we also expect to take place on that occasion. On Tuesday, the WCF starts a partnership meeting event. They close it with a reception for their members. And then after that, there will be also an event organized by Women in Cocoa and Chocolate Network, which is a tradition. We are super happy to host them, particularly because we celebrate the International Year of the Women Farmer. On Tuesday, the financial course also continues, and we have, like every year, the European Market Academy, and that is for farmer organizations and SMEs that need support in accessing European markets. WCF continues their partnership meeting on Wednesday, and in the evening there will be this Grand Dîner du Chocolat, which is only the most delicious dinner and networking opportunity for all professionals in cocoa and chocolate. This year we will do it in another location in the Koepelkerk instead of the Hilton, which is really an amazing location in the center of Amsterdam. And on that dinner, we expect both guests coming from WCF, but also from Chocoa and CoEd. So it's really something where we can also come together and enjoy each other's company and the delicious food and wine, not unimportant. On Wednesday, we also start with the 3-day trade fair. That is the place, it's the core of our week where cocoa producers, traders, chocolate makers, service providers do business. And then on that trade fair, we will also host Cocoa Talks. Wednesday, we dive a little bit more into the Chocoa program. There will be a meet and greet with the chocolate makers who will then the next day, next 2 days, join the Chocolate Makers Forum. which is really a platform for exchange, learning, and discussion for craft chocolate makers and their partners. Not only to share experiences, but also to get exposed to strategies to grow their business and have more impact. Then, one of the things also very close to my heart, as you know, the Chocoa conference will kick off on Thursday, which is a 2-day conference. This is really for a multi-stakeholder audience working on sustainability in mainstream cocoa and chocolate. Still, there are many people who think Chocoa is more for craft. We are there for craft, definitely, but we are also there for mainstream. We're actually there for anyone who works in the sector. And then on Thursday, at the end of the day, we will have our trade and transport in transition event. That is for the people who work more in logistics and trade and who have their own challenges. So we have this dedicated sessions for them. And then on Friday, we still have from a Chocoa side the culinary master classes, because we do think it's important to promote cacao also as ingredient for excellent food and drinks. And we are very excited to have Cacao Excellence, who will host for the second time the Cacao Excellence Award ceremony, where the winners will be announced. Well, this is a beautiful and amazing and even emotional event with many producers, but also the authorities that come to hopefully celebrate the good news with from a country perspective. And on Friday, for the first time, we also will organize what we call our Seguin's Cacao Auction, where we sell specially prepared batches of award-winning cocoa. We organize that as Chocoa together with Darnauer and Cacao Excellence. But this is a lot to grasp. We will put this in an agenda. We will make sure everybody knows what is happening when. We will also have a dedicated app, and we will have screens during the week so everybody can go to the places where they think they can benefit most from.
Anna, thank you. There's already messages coming in. I'm glad to see we are live on LinkedIn. Sorry, I got a bit of a mix-up with the times there, but it looks like people are tuning in from LinkedIn, which is great. And there's one message from Albert saying, simply, how do I attend this program? How do I attend this event? Well, simply, there's a QR code, should be right in your top left of your screen. Obviously, it's Amsterdam Cocoa Week is the main kind of portal now, isn't it, for the whole event? So look online. There's the Chocoa page on LinkedIn. I would imagine we'll be getting bombarded with lots of information and the run up to the event between now and February. And just while you're there, Anna, it does sound ambitious, which is probably an understatement of the program. Obviously, we're very close now. We've got the Christmas break. Everything of the program's up. Is everything finalized? Are you still waiting on a couple of things? You don't have to give detail.
It's a good question. We aim to finalize all the content before Christmas break. So we are very close with speakers, with side events, with everything. So we're quite confident on the program. What is always our challenge is to also then share with the world what it is that we're doing and why people should actually come to us. So that is why we're also so grateful for this webinar, because we need to make ourselves known and we need to explain all the things that are happening. And that is a challenge, but I think every year we get a bit better at it.
Right, that's great. And also we've comments coming in. Farmers Day is getting a big hands up there. So again, so people are interested in that event that runs alongside. So all these events are happening. Amsterdam Cocoa Week, 16th to the 22nd, right through. You can choose your events, choose your tickets, and go to the little QR code on there for more information. Okay, thanks, Anna. Now, Mariana. You're the glue that holds this whole operation together.
Yeah.
Can you walk through your role and what exhibitors and attendees should know about logistics, registration, booths, matchmaking, and using the all-important official app? So to take it away, Mariana.
Of course, Tony, thanks. Well, my role, as you say, is very much on the operational side of things, but I also overlook marketing and promotion. So I'm happy to see that Sharon has also joined. She's also one of our partners to promoting this great event with you and other partner from Ghana, Nana. So I also overlook part of the program. So the financial course, like Anna said, is something that I designed with my peers and the European Markets Academy to get everybody ready to enter this European market with a strong foot, as well as with a good financial understanding. So financial course is here for the second edition to equip us all with all we need to know to, do not worry about money. And in terms of operational stuff, it is all about making sure that everything behind the scenes runs smoothly. So the exhibitors that attendees can really focus on doing business and during the week. For this, we have, of course, the support the moment they register and reserve their booth, all the way to have their products exhibits in the trade fair or the festival. So the stand setup, the timelines, the exhibitor manuals, and one thing that is super important that we've managed to, they're very proud of is our Chocoa app, which last year generated, I think, over 2,000 connections and over 400 scheduled meetings. So it's just not an app to navigate the event and check the program, but it is an app that really unlocks networking before you arrive. So it can really help you get deals to happen and we expect to have a greater, bigger engagement in 2026. So yeah, it's a lot, but it's what I do within the team.
It is, and we're getting some great comments. Someone's just tuned in from Ghana. There's a question about cocoa prices. We'll try to get to that towards the end. Jack, just before, I'd like to ask you a question that's just coming to my mind. I know at Chocoa you always have Dutch government representatives at ministerial level, don't you? And I just wondered, does the city of Amsterdam support the Chocoa and the event in general? And I know you host it at the beautiful old stock exchange, the Beurs van Ballage. That's two really great benefits. One, that's in the middle of town for a conference. It's not outside. It's not on a dedicated conference center on the outskirts. And two, it's a beautiful, beautiful building that lends itself well to the intimacy, doesn't it, of Chocoa? So, do you get support from the local government and the town?
We have always worked very closely with the Port of Amsterdam and with the port community in Amsterdam. Amsterdam is the largest port for imports of cocoa worldwide, and there's a lot of cocoa processing, storage. Chocoa is really in close cooperation with the Amsterdam community. And indeed, with the Beurs van Berlage, we're right in the city center. So that's very important. And for us, the cooperation with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs is very important too, because we are an international platform. And we get a lot of visitors from abroad. And of course, the embassy network also is also part of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. So by cooperating with them, we are able to give a little support, a little hand to our visitors who need a visa, because for visa applications, especially coming in from Ghana, Côte d'Ivoire, it may take a very long time. And from time to time, we can be helpful and push a little bit, give a little higher priority in the waiting list for meetings and so on. So indeed, cooperation with government is very important, and we're very happy with that.
Good. And for me, as a journalist, I think it's always the benefit of Chocoa has always been right at the beginning of the year. It's always a set time, you know exactly where it's going to take place, and it obviously follows a lot of the issues that have been coming up in cocoa in the last 12 months. And like a good example, when we were there 2 years ago, there was a big cocoa price shock. The price is going up. Last year it was EUDR. Was it coming in? Wasn't it? It didn't. And now next year again, we've got another delay, probably 99.9%. So again, it's a chance to discuss those issues very early on in the year, and it kind of almost sets that agenda throughout the year. So it's quite an important conference for lots of people, for journalists and for stakeholders as well, to get an idea of the mood, isn't it, of the cocoa sector?
Yes, it is actually, and February is a very good month to organize this. Actually, some people may remember that we had a Chocoa in June once, the year after Corona, and then actually the chocolate was melting on the stands. So also for practical reasons, February is a very good month for chocolate and for cocoa. But you're quite right. What we want to do, especially with the conference, is to set a stage to have innovative discussions and to have discussions of what is going to happen. And as we are not related to any interest in the cocoa supply chain, we're a neutral platform. We are able to get those discussions on stage at a very early level.
Good. And thank you. And we're talking about, I think the June one was the only one I've missed. I didn't go in June. I've always been in February, always a bit chilly. But your point was, and this is a question I want to ask you next, it's the chocolate festival. Now that's consumer facing, isn't it? That's at the weekend,
Yes.
the last 2 days, and consumers are invited, the public are invited for tastings, and it's something that's grown. And for this year, could you tell me how many stands do you have roughly? How many exhibitors, and how many the country of origins, where they're coming from, and what can they expect if you're a consumer?
So consumers can expect a lot of different origins, from smaller origins like the Solomon Islands, Samoa, Fiji, larger origins like Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire. We will have a lot of Latin American exhibitors as well. So cocoa from all over the world, chocolate from all over the world. The idea of the festival is that it is, on one hand, of course, good to contribute to the sustainability of cocoa with the efforts that we have in our B2B program all week long. But in the end, you have to sell the cocoa as well. So our slogan, "Good cocoa, better chocolate," is something that we use to then inform and educate the consumer that, of course, if you want to have a better quality of your chocolate, you have to pay a better price. And from that point of view, we are now expanding into a more culinary scene. So the consumers we are expecting are the chocoholics, as always, but also the culinary adventurers that want to see what else you can do with chocolate. So we now have a chocolate pairing square where you can taste oysters with chocolate, wine with chocolates, even maybe, not sure whether they come in, caviar with chocolate, and things like that. So, and we have a beauty and health part of the show where the other applications, implementations of cocoa will be shown. There will be music, we have live cooking. The master classes we run on Friday for professionals that we organize because we want to show professionals that they can actually make more use of cocoa to make gelato, to make cocktails, to make ganaches, to make hot drinks for baristas in coffee bars. We also prolongate that in the weekends, so consumers get used to that. There will be a lot of tastings, so it'll be amazing. And where we had maybe 1,500 consumers in 2013. Last year we were at 6,000, and this year our objective is 8,000. So there will be a lot of talks, there will be a lot of music, there will be a lot of good things to taste.
Good, and we look forward to that part of the week for sure. Thank you. There's comments coming in, Mariana, about the great app. What a wonderful app it is. What a great job you do there, and it does make the week a lot easier, and especially now it's expanding as well. So good work there. Anna, let's get down to the nitty-gritty a bit and the Chocoa conference, and the themes that I picked out this year, next year, are going to be resilience and transition. But what does a realistic cocoa future actually look like, would you say, and how can Chocoa shape that future?
Yeah, it's a good question. Maybe you should put off. Yes, thank you. Technical things are always challenging. So maybe I would like to start with, if you ask this question, I think what is key to understand that we are indeed this independent platform, right? And we are maybe a bit crazy, and we're definitely passionate, and we organize all these things because we care and we want to contribute to this, let's say, change of the sector in the right direction. And right for us has to do with sustainability, and it has to do also with taking into account the needs and aspirations of all stakeholders, including the farmers. And we also try really to be farmer-centered. We don't start necessarily these events by thinking we know all the answers, but what we do want is bring everybody together to discuss in a nuanced way. So there are no easy solutions, but to discuss and express the complexity of things, but also challenge each other and to make sure that diversity of voices is there. What we of course can do is make the agenda and make sure we have a number of interesting people on the stage, and make sure that there's a good audience, good crowd in the room that can shape the discussion. So in that sense, we did, of course, have our preference for, and based on also the developments in the sector, we did feel the need to put a number of themes of the agenda on of the Chocoa conference in particular. And there we thought also taking into account the still fundamental challenges that we see. We already talked about prices that fluctuate. We know that we have this intensified diseases. We still we will still and we will remain to have challenges of climate change, but also health and supply risk. So we have all these fundamental issues, which makes solutions not necessarily easy, but an honest debate about those challenges and discovering and learn from programs, interventions, ideas of others can help us to be still optimistic of the direction in which we can go and give some direction. So with having those topics in mind, so this more the fundamental challenges and also the need to work more towards a resilient sector, resiliency for the sector, but also for resilient livelihoods for farmers. And also to acknowledge that we need to move in transition. We need to transition into a sector that is more sustainable and that is also more fair for producers and for all the contributors to the cocoa sector. So what we've done this year, we have basically, well, I think an amazing program where we will have the people and the topics that help us to move into solutions and inspiration and in a good discussion. So, for example, the first panel will be on this more systemic challenges, where we have speakers like Carla Martin and Emmanuel Champong from Harvard University and the Institute for Cacao and Chocolate Research, who will also share their insights from a recent multi-stakeholder study that they did, focusing on West Africa. We have Nico Debenham co-moderating the session with us. Well, most of you out there will know that he's an excellent person to shape that discussion and doesn't shy away from critical questions. And then we also have a session central in the program where we ask more for bottom-up perspectives on resilience. So where we have more producer organizations sharing their perspectives. And here we are very happy to have, for example, representatives of Ane Cacao and Fede Cacao, two well-known producer organizations from Ecuador and Colombia. And we have we have the Voice Network represented by Susan Jemidi from Ghana to moderate that session with us. So to make sure we get this bottom-up perspective to resilience and put the farmers more central into the debate. And also just to give you a last example, a third panel of the first day, we will look into what we call more forward-looking farmer models that potentially can respond to some of these very structural challenges we face. And we will look at those with hope, but also critically. To what extent can these new farming models really provide answers in different contexts on the longer term, and really shape also opportunities for producers. So here we will have contributions from, for example, Barry Calabout and the Cacao and Cocoa Action Brazil. And then I'm supported by Rafael Velenbok to co-moderate that session. The last session on the second day, if I have 2 minutes more, we will have more deeper dives in the morning, all kind of breakout sessions where we really go into the nitty-gritty of some of the solutions. And then we will close off with Michel Arion, looking forward and indeed going into try to look at this future outlook, not by giving only the Chocoa perspective, but really getting the people on stage who can help us shape that future.
Okay, I haven't had a chance to quite look at the full program, but we have a query here from somebody joining us online, and about cocoa swollen shoot disease. Now, I'm not sure if it's in the Chocoa program. It could be something that the WCF are covering in theirs, so I'm not sure about that. Obviously, it's an important issue, so I guess somewhere throughout the week it will be looked at and examined, because it's one of those big issues that we do need to, the cocoa sector needs to address. So Anna, just staying with you, as you last year, I think you introduced one of your sessions as look around, who's in the room, who's not in the room, and
yeah.
And it was evident that you highlighted that retailers weren't there, or for some reason. I think it was last year, probably the year before. I get confused. But retailers are important, aren't they? And for whatever reason, some didn't choose to attend. But it's quite important to have them there, especially with the EUDR. The retail have done a lot to on the compliance side, isn't it, to make their cocoa compliant, speaking to their suppliers, their traders. So have we got retailers in this year? Do you on the panel?
Well, I think WCF will do a little bit better job this year getting some retailers on the table. At least I heard Jacques talking about that. So I think that because they also have more attention to the EUDR on their main program, let's say, than we have at Chocoa. So in the week, there will be retailers out there for sure. And in the Chocoa program, they not make it. They not made it this year to the central stage. But what I can say, what is interesting is that we will have one of the side sessions is organized by the Chocoloni Foundation, and we together with Tony's Open Chain. And Tony's Open Chain is a concept that is also attracting a lot of retail to buy into their sourcing model. And they will be also invited for that session, and definitely we will persuade them to also participate, at least as visitors. And maybe next year at Chocoa we can do another attempt to get retail on the stage. But I don't know, Jacques, if you want to add something on WCF and retail.
Yes, that's fine. But actually, you mentioned earlier that we have this advantage of being in February at the start of the year. By joining the Amsterdam Cocoa Week for the second time, World Cocoa Foundation has that same advantage. And by having those two main conferences in the same week, we are really able to discuss many parts of many issues that are at this moment in the cocoa supply chain. And by having the two events in the same week, of course, we have to make sure that we're complementary so that it is interesting for someone to go both to the World Cocoa Foundation as well as to the conference of Chocoa. So yes, cocoa swollen food is one of the main issues on the World Cocoa Foundation agenda. And yes, there are retailers in the program there. So indeed, by being complementary, we make sure that all issues are being discussed during the Amsterdam Cocoa Week.
Okay, thank you. Mariana, you've been sat there patiently. There are a couple of questions for you. And again, questions that are coming in from the viewers there. One is how can exhibitors and participants maximize their experience and visibility, and what practical steps would you recommend for anyone wanting to join the trade fair, festival, or conferences?
I think if they want to join to maximize the visibility, the best way is to have a place in the trade fair. So our booths are now, I think, 80% sold. So if they really want to be present to offer their product or service, the best the best way would be to have a stand so that they can have a presence in our app with their booth, but also have a place to meet their potential new clients. The other way is to attend our events, because I saw a question coming forward about how to get the app. So we have the only way you can have our app or download our app if you are one of the attendees of our program. So it's not an app that you can download from the. It's an app that you will get access to 3 weeks before the event, to if you are attending the event. So yeah, I think those would be the best ways to just stay connected and make some noise. Make your connections prior to the event.
Okay, we have a question coming in. It's a good question. I don't quite understand it, but I think the question is the trade fair valuable also for the chocolate makers already exhibiting at the chocolate festival over the weekend? So I guess by trade fair, you have one running concurrently with the throughout the week, don't you? Then it's the chocolate festival for 2 dedicated days at the weekend. So is it valuable for chocolate to do both?
I think it depends on the vision of the maker. If they come to meet retailers or make business, that the trade fair is a bit more quiet, so they can have that space. But if their aim is to sell to the consumer, and chocolate makers come to this fair to be sold out and be busy with their brand, then it really depends what they're aiming from. We will have professionals in the trade fair, so there will be sales going on during these 3 days, but it really depends on what they want to be. We usually recommend, knowing our chocolate makers, that the festival is the best place for them to join, but the trade fair doors are always open to have chocolate makers promote their brand, especially having all these chocolate experts during the weekdays.
And maybe to add something to that, because the optimal time use for a chocolate maker would be to join the trade fair, because there will be a lot of cocoa producers there, so they can sample beans and maybe find new sources for their chocolate bars. We also have the chocolate makers forum where they can meet other chocolate makers, and then 2 days later exhibit at the festival. One of the things that is particularly interesting for chocolate makers is that we have this auction on Friday, where we'll be auctioning off special batches of award-winning cocoa. So cocoa that has won the Cocoa of Excellence Award in 2024. We've asked those producers to prepare special batches, can be special fermentations, that are only available during Chocoa. We will be auctioning them in lots of 200, 300, or 500 kg. So a chocolate maker that wants to have a special edition chocolate bar, if he would buy that batch, then he could even put on the wrapping that it is issued of this one-off batch that was prepared for the Chocoa auction.
Okay, thank you. And Anna, we've got a question coming in. The themes, as we said, is resilience and transition, but there's a viewer who's just been asking. Last year was about fair price for cocoa, and last year's agenda. Obviously, that's going to be part of this year's talks, isn't it? But the overarching theme of Chocoa, how would you describe it? I know resilience and transition is something else, but can you just expand a little on that?
Yeah, so I think I'm good. Jacques is inferior. Yeah, sure. So thanks for that question. So we have, of course, the week with all the events, and we have our themes that we prioritize in the events that we organize as Chocoa team. So for the conference, the resilience and transition are the key words that capture what we try to focus on. So for example, if we talk about resilience, it's also moving beyond the discussions on prices, but also discuss risks, ways to mitigate risks. That can be health risks, it can be procurement risk, for example. We've also talked about, we have a breakout session, I must say, on gender and family well-being, also being part of the resilience. We also have a session powered by IDH on living income and climate. So those are topics that are, let's say, are more on a nexus where both income and price discussions meet other discussions that are also part of the equation and of the solutions we're trying to get towards. We also one other topic, and as you maybe some of you know, but we have this great advisory committee who comes together also before we make our program, and they can give their input. And there was also really a plea to not shy away from some of the more systemic problems that the sector faces, and also look a little bit more at the history of where these problems are coming from, and to dive more into the root causes, for example, before we look at potential solutions. Again, their words as transition and resilience, maybe that sounds maybe a little bit broad, but they, we think, put things together, like what is it that we focus on for this theme. And maybe also good to know, like, you know, like as a program, we have so many interesting topics that we want to bring to the forefront. It's also about, I think what I think we are doing and what we also want to do is, like you said at the beginning, we give a kind of reflection of what happened over the last year, right? So we continue the discussion. We don't go back and back. We try to move forward, building on the discussions we had the previous years, because there's so much going on in the sector and we want to do justice to that. So, for example, this year we will do our best also to get not only the West African perspective, which always have quite a prominent place in our agenda, but also give more attention for example, speakers from Latin America, where cocoa production has been growing for the last year, for example, and learn also from those experiences. And that helps us also to get to this more realistic outlook. So basically, it's always a snapshot of the year behind us, and what that brings us to the what does that tell us about the future we want to head to together.
Okay, thank you, Anna, for that. A question to you all now, as we're kind of almost wrapping up this session, and I'd like to ask you, each one of you, to give a short answer to this. What excites you, or perhaps gives you nightmares or sleepless nights about the upcoming 2026 edition? You can choose your emotion. Jack, smiling away.
Well, the nightmare, of course, always is that we have prepared everything to the best we can, and we have rented off the entire building for a week, and then something happens and people can't travel. We were just talking about COVID. I sometimes reflect on it and say that if the government would have realized 2 weeks earlier how dangerous the virus was, they would have closed us before we even opened. And I think we would not have been here anymore, as a company at least, because that is the ultimate nightmare. And insurances can do a little bit, but having done all the work, making all those expectations, and then not being able to meet it for some external reason, that's a nightmare.
Okay, thank you. Mariana, what were you excited about?
I think for me it's really exciting because you don't hear often all the deals that happen in the trade fair, all the deals or containers or, you know, that are closed during the trade fair. But sometimes during delegation, or when I do prior to Chocoa starting, I hear the maker saying, oh, I sold X amount of pallets, or I closed X amount of containers during Chocoa. That excites me because I know we can really make an impact, not only in terms of knowledge and program, but also in terms of the financial means of these farmers or communities or processors or service providers. So that excites me a lot. And of course the EMA and financial course, because they're close to my heart. But I think the trade fair and all we do, it excites me significantly.
Okay, thank you, Anna. I know Jack and Mariana, they're pretty much in the background during that week. I know they do a lot of work, obviously, on the run up. But you're the one on stage. You're the one kind of holding it together for the actual conference, aren't you? But do you find that fun? Do you enjoy that part and the part of the discussions, or is each day a kind of gripping the desk kind of thing?
Well, I know that I look very much forward always to the end of the week and look back at the success. No, it is actually really fun to be on stage and to build or harvest, let's say, on all the discussions we had with the people in preparation, and to make it just happen and to take that responsibility. So I do enjoy it. What maybe to share, like I had that last year. It was Friday afternoon after the conference, and we're already, being quite far in the program. And I went to a few of the side sessions, and one was about organized by students talking about Ethiopian chocolate. There was an ECA board meeting. There was a session of Elucid, which was kind of a party. And I really realized that all these other people were also bringing their atmosphere, their people, their story, their interests to the same building. So it was as much their event as it was ours. And that really felt good, because that is one of the main reasons why I'm doing this and I'm putting my energy into this, to really create something together. So I look forward to the end of the week, that we have had an amazing week with everybody present, also everyone who's now joining, and that we can all have a beer or something alcoholic free and enjoy and look back and be really proud of what we've been achieving. And then still we enter the consumer festival with another crowd, a bit more relaxed, and pull that off as well.
Sure. Okay. Well, thank you. You have been listening to the team behind Chocoa. That is your official company name now, isn't it? You are
the company behind Chocoa.
The company behind Chocoa, yeah. And for those of you who don't know Jack and Mariana, here they are. And if you've seen Anna on stage, you know Anna does her job hosting. But anyway, let's wrap it up there. And I'd just like to say thank you, Jack, Anna, and Mariana, and a special shout out to your colleague Caroline Lubbers, who couldn't join us today for a very special reason, and she's about to welcome a new arrival any time now, I would imagine. So we wish her all the best. If you'd like to be part of Amsterdam Cocoa Week, scan the QR code, look online, and visit the website to secure your place. The tickets are on sale now. Early bird tickets, I think, are still available. It's still ongoing for Christmas, and then obviously there's a Christmas break, and then the team will be back ready, preparing for the big event in February. And of course, subscribe to CocoaRadar, exclusive updates, interviews, premium access for all the coverage during the week. We will be there ringside. We look forward to that. So it's time for me to say thank you for joining us today. I'm so pleased you could tune in live and see it. It will be available on demand catch up on the CocoaRadar YouTube channel. We'll put that out there. And any follow-up questions, please get in touch with me or the company behind Chocoa, and we will do our best to address anything that we haven't managed to cover in these last 60 minutes. So thank you very much, guys. We'll see you in Amsterdam, and we look forward to it. And have a lovely Christmas.
Great. You too. Bye, everybody.
Joining.
Thank you. Looking forward to it too. Bye.